Which is better, the OnePlus 12 or the OnePlus 12R? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out. What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my comparison of the OnePlus 12 versus the OnePlus 12R. Now, I'd like to thank OnePlus for being kind enough to send both of these phones out to me to cover here on the channel. Of course, all opinions expressed are completely my own, but I did have a nice time meeting up with them at CES 2024, which was just several weeks ago. They invited me to learn more about these various devices in their suite, and they really got very in-depth with everything that there is to know about these phones. And I'm looking forward to sharing the best of that information with you here in this video. Now, this time around with the OnePlus 12, there is no OnePlus 12 Pro. And the reason why there is no Pro model is because they've put all the Pro features in the regular OnePlus 12. So this is a zero compromise device. This has the best of the best from OnePlus, so they didn't see a need to make a Pro model. And I really like that idea. I wish more smartphone manufacturers would do that. I'm kind of tired of there being so many different versions and variants of these various devices. I like how OnePlus just has one flagship and they went all in with it. Now, the OnePlus 12R, you might be mistaken based on the name of it that it's basically the regular version of the OnePlus 12, but this phone competes in a completely different segment. This device has an MSRP of $499, and it competes more with the Pixel 7a, for example, and the Samsung Galaxy S23 FE. So that's considered the mid-range segment, which is different from the flagship segment, which the OnePlus 12 competes in. Now, the OnePlus 12, even though this phone is an awesome flagship device from the company, has a very low price on its own. So this phone has an MSRP of just $799 for the 256GB model of it. For 512GB, it is $899. So that's way less expensive than most of the flagships that Samsung's offering, especially the S23 Ultra. And then with the OnePlus 12R, as I mentioned before, for the 128GB model of this phone, you can get it for $499, and then for 256 gigs, it's $599. So you're certainly saving quite a bit of money if you go for the 12R versus the 12. And even though the 12R is a mid-ranger, you might determine by the end of this video that a mid-range phone is really better for your needs. And for most people out there, honestly, they really only need a mid-range device. I think one of the biggest benefits of going for the full-on flagship like the 12 is that you'll be getting more longevity out of it. Maybe you're somebody who likes to keep your phone for 4 years, for example. If that's the case, then this phone will certainly last for that whole duration and be a great experience. Now, I have a feeling the OnePlus 12R will also last for a very long time and work really well as time goes on, but of course, since this phone has lower specifications, a weaker processor, and all those compromises compared to the 12, it won't give you the better experience of the two into long term. So you definitely do get what you pay for. Now with the OnePlus 12, we're getting a 6.82-inch display compared to a slightly smaller 6.78-inch display with the 12R. And you can see side by side here, the phones are actually pretty similar in size, almost exactly the same size, but really that display difference is not much. Now, with the 12, we're getting an LTPO AMOLED display versus a LTPO 4 AMOLED display with the 12R. I'm not really sure what the difference is, but I'm assuming that they gave the 12 the better display of the two, but I would say both look really good when looking at them. Maybe we're getting a little bit more saturation, richer colors with the OnePlus 12, but it's really tough to know. And then both of these phones do feature 120Hz refresh rates, so they're super smooth, that's for sure. And then we're getting 1440p displays with both phones as well. So with the OnePlus 12, we're getting a PPI of 510 compared to a PPI of 450 with the 12R. And then both phones do feature 19.8:9 aspect ratios. And then with the 12, we're getting a 91.3% screen-to-body ratio versus a 90.9% screen-to-body ratio with the 12R. And then with the 12, we're getting 32 megapixels for the front-facing camera compared to 16 megapixels for the front-facing camera on the 12R. And then as I mentioned, the storage configurations are different with these two phones. With the 12, we're getting options of 256 or 512 gigabytes versus 128 or 256 gigs with the 12R. And then neither of these two phones have SD card expansion, so you are stuck with the amount of storage that comes in the phones. Now, I do feel like they're giving us a very generous level of storage. I like that with the OnePlus 12, there's actually no 128GB variant. I definitely think every flagship device in 2024 should start out at a minimum of 256GB, especially since nowadays people are capturing 4K video, they're capturing high-resolution images, and you need a lot of space on your device. It's not 2015 anymore. Now with the OnePlus 12, we are getting 50-watt wireless charging, so that's really impressive. Now there's no wireless charging here at the 12R, which is a bit unfortunate, but most mid-range smartphones tend to not have that feature. So I am at least very impressed that we're getting 50-watt fast charging here with the 12. However, you will have to use a special wireless charger from OnePlus to use this feature, and I will be getting my wireless charger pretty soon so I can test out this feature. Now both phones do feature face unlock, and also they have in-display fingerprint sensors, which is great. So you can see here, very fast and responsive with the 12. We'll try that one more time. There we go, very quick. And then we'll try it out with the OnePlus 12R, and that's also very fast. Let's try that again. There we go. So definitely excellent, reliable fingerprint sensors with both of these devices. Now taking a look at the cameras on these two devices, with the OnePlus 12, we're getting a 50 megapixel main camera, a 48 megapixel ultra wide angle camera that capture images at up to 114 degrees, and we're also getting a 64 megapixel periscope telephoto camera that can zoom in at 3x optical zoom. Now with the OnePlus 12R, we're getting a 50 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera that can capture images at 112 degrees, and then we're getting a 2 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. So definitely some different camera features between these two devices, and the biggest difference definitely has to be that we're getting a telephoto camera here with the 12, whereas the 12R has a macro camera. I certainly do prefer the telephoto camera as far as practicality goes, because there's a lot more you can do with that compared to macro. Now here's how things look on the camera apps of both devices. This is with the main rear camera right now. Then from here we can switch over to 0.6, which will take us over to the ultra wide angle cameras. So that's definitely a great feature. And then, like I said, with the OnePlus 12, we can zoom in at 3x optical, whereas with the OnePlus 12R, you can go over to the More tab here, and you can then access the macro camera right there. And then with macro, you can really get close up here. A better example here with this Lego. There we go. I think that makes a lot more sense about how a macro camera can help you out, as you can see right there. So in general, both phones do have good cameras, but the cameras are definitely way better here with the OnePlus 12R. Not only the camera hardware, but the actual results from those photos and videos are better too. Now I have compared both of these phones here on the channel already, so definitely take a look at my various test photos and videos from them to really put them up to the test and compare the quality. Another difference too is that with the OnePlus 12, we do have a maximum of 8K video at 24 FPS with the rear camera, compared to a maximum of 4K at 60 FPS with the OnePlus 12R. And then with the front-facing cameras, with the OnePlus 12, it does max out at 4K at 30 FPS, whereas the OnePlus 12R maxes out at 1080p at 30 FPS with the front-facing camera. And then when it comes to portrait mode, we are getting portrait mode with both phones, with both the front and rear cameras, which is great. And then when it comes to the amount of RAM we're getting, that's very different. So with the OnePlus 12, we're getting options of 12 or 16 gigabytes of RAM. And then with the OnePlus 12R, we're getting options of 8 or 16 gigabytes of RAM. So it is cool that with both phones, you can max out at 16 gigs, but the base model of the OnePlus 12 does max out at 8 gigabytes. And then the processors that we're getting here with these two phones are the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and then the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. So the Gen 2 is not a bad processor, that's for sure. It's actually a great processor, but the OnePlus 12's Gen 3 processor is even better, way better actually. In fact, not only is it faster, but it's more power efficient, and I was fortunate enough to attend Snapdragon Summit several months ago in October, and I was able to learn a lot about the benefits of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. But basically, it's an excellent processor, but I wouldn't let the fact that there's a Gen 2 in the 12R scare you away from this device, but there certainly is a difference. When it comes to battery capacity, there's a little bit of a bigger battery here at the OnePlus 12R at 5,500 milliamp hours compared to 5,400 milliamp hours of the OnePlus 12. And then both phones do max out at 100 watt fast charging, which is thanks to the SuperVOOC technology, which is proprietary to OnePlus's parent company. Both phones do run Android 14 with Oxygen OS, and then both phones will be getting up to 4 years of major Android software updates from OnePlus, which is really awesome. Now with both phones, we are getting NFC, we're also getting IR blasters, so you can use the phones to change the TV channel, for example, or change the volume on your TV. So that's really cool that both phones offer that. And then with the OnePlus 12, we are getting IP65 waterproof and dustproof ratings, but there is no rating for the OnePlus 12R. Now taking a look at the left side of both devices, they both have sliders, so you can mute the phones if you want to, or unmute them. On the right side here, we have volume up, volume down, and then the power buttons. Then up top here, we have the noise canceling microphone. We have also the IR blaster in both devices. And then on the bottom, we have the slots for the SIM cards. We also have the microphones, USB-C ports for charging and data transfer, and then also the speakers in both devices. And then on the back of these two phones, they're very different in many ways, but the biggest difference is that we're getting a glossy back of the 12R versus a more matte finish with the 12. I definitely prefer how things look on the 12. You can already see the 12R has a lot of fingerprints on it. And then taking a look at the camera modules of both devices, they are very similar, but I do feel like the OnePlus 12 looks especially cool, and it kind of reminds me of like a old school pocket watch. I think it looks really nice. But in conclusion, I hope this video helped you make a decision here between the OnePlus 12 and OnePlus 12R. Overall, they're both excellent smartphones, and I think they both serve their own purposes. It really just depends on what exactly you're looking for in a smartphone. But let me know what you think, which one you prefer in the comment section below. Do you feel like it's worth the extra money for the OnePlus 12, or would you rather save a little bit and go with the 12R? But this is Kevin here. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.